Hey, what's good, everyone? This is Quad B, formerly known as Bamboozled Black Baby Boomer, and uh, and I'm here to do a quick live stream because I just wanted to do a quick live stream. Okay, it is 10:20 a.m. Eastern Time on June 13th, 2018. And I haven't been on of late. I actually did a live stream over the weekend where I talked about governance of a Black American nation, but didn't get a whole lot of comment on that because there had to been a few other folks who were going live. Um, I guess we share the same audience. So, so anyhow, and I gotta stop saying anyhow. This live stream is a response to a dude I know who's part of what we call the Angry Man Nation, of which I am a part. Um, Taurean Rain did a video on some of the Black Manosphere all stars, if you will. That's what I call them, that he really likes, like, Mr. Superboy, Jason Black, Professor Black Truth, Cerulean Gray, Angry Man, BGS Idmore, and another brother whose name I cannot recall because I'm not looking at the screen at his video right now. But I wanted to talk a little bit about how I came to find the Black Manosphere about a little over a year ago, around April or May of 2017. Um, what happened was that I saw a post on Facebook by a guy who writes about Black issues. Mainly, he takes on what he calls the African American culture. He calls thug culture African American culture, whereas intelligent Black society is Black America. So he wrote a post, um, severely criticizing um, uh, a lady by the name you might have heard of by the name of two ladies, Sophia Nelson and Crystalline Karazin, for trying to silence Black men on social media. So, as many of you know, Sophia Nelson is a former lawyer, a pundit, and an author, and and she was uh, a subject of a lot of was like I wouldn't say hatred, but what she says is harassment. And let me get to that in a minute. Okay, so after thinking long and hard about it, I reached out to Sophia Nelson. Why? Because she and I had a professional relationship back in the 90s when we were both up in New Jersey. If you want to know more about that, I'll talk to you about that offline. But so I reached out to Sophia about this post I saw on Facebook, and she in turn informed me that that was just the latest of that post that I described, that I linked to for her. What that she said that this post was more evidence that she was the subject of harassment and death threats and all that. And I'm like, wow, really? So there's more there was more to it than that. But to keep a long story short, I then listened to a Sophia Nelson YouTube video where she ended up calling out members of the Black Manosphere, and including Obsidian and Angry Man. So I said to myself, okay, let me check these channels out. And I checked out Obsidian, I checked out Angry Man, and the first Angry Man video I saw was a live stream about the apparently too close for comfort relationship between NBA star Kevin Durant, who now plays for the Golden State Warriors, and I guess they're celebrating a championship today. Um, and his mom. And I thought, this is some interesting stuff. I've never seen this addressed on a YouTube video before. And I saw a comment where somebody said, "Angry man's going where no man has gone before." I'm like, okay, let's let's let me check this dude out. So I watched a few more videos of this dude called Angry Man, who goes by Valdez also. And I thought, all right, this guy, he's a little, he's definitely, if you don't like cussing, like my wife wouldn't be able to handle Angry Man because, there's a lot of, there's a lot of, what she likes to call frothing and flarting, but that's how dude is. Anyway, you may have heard this said before. So I said to my wife, "Hey, I found this channel on YouTube called The Angry Man." She looks at me and said, "Oh, there's another one." I'm like, "What?" And I was like, "Oh, okay, you're talking about me." Because, for a long time I was kind of angry about some stuff too. And, when you're married to somebody, they're the ones who definitely notice. So as a result, I got to know Angry Man's and his subscribers, some of his subscribers, and I got to know the Manosphere. Now let me go back a little bit. I never really messed with YouTube from about 2000 on. I never really messed with YouTube that much. I was more on Twitter and Facebook. And my son, around 2014, turned me on to Jason Black. The first Jason Black video I heard was something called The Dumb, an intelligence rant, which he posted in 2012. I listened to it and cracked up because a lot of what he said was right. You got too many stupid motherfuckers out there with a platform who don't need one. Of course, the problem is they don't know they stupid motherfuckers. But I thought it was great. Then I heard this guy was doing a a documentary called 7 a.m. where it talked about how black people are the poorest people on the planet, and black people, to really be liberated, if you will, need to have power, wealth, and influence. And that really uh, resonated with me because if you know who I am on YouTube, you'll know that I called myself Bamboozled Black Baby Boomer. Why? Because everything I was taught growing up and in my young adulthood was not so much bullshit, but it wasn't the whole story. It wasn't the whole story. So I like the idea of him talking about economic empowerment for black people. That's Jason Black. So when my son and I, my older son, supported the marketing of 7 a.m. financially, then we drove from DC to New York City to watch 7 a.m. in January of 2015. And it was great. It was nice. Then we saw it again in DC. My son tried to put on a showing of 7 a.m., but he didn't really get get a lot of publicity out of it about it, and it cost him a little something. But you live and you learn, right? I mean, he rented a theater, had he packed it out. And this was in May or June of 2015. If he had packed it out, he might have broken even or made a profit. But you got to give him credit for trying. That's my son. You got to give him credit for trying. And he was a frequent caller. My son was a frequent caller in the Jason Black's program. So we saw 7 a.m. I haven't seen Gentrified. I admit I haven't seen Gentrified. I'm looking forward to seeing Race War, his third documentary. So that's Jason Black. Another dude that Torian Rain actually talked about Jason Black, and he talked about another gentleman by the name of Professor Black Truth. Now, I haven't listened to a lot of Professor Black Truth's videos, but for me, a classic is, I guess it's one he might put up every Independence Day, which he called, it's like the 4th of July. That to me is a classic. Again, it was one of those things where you listen to it and you realize everything, a lot of what you were taught in what I've learned is now called in the school system, which I've since learned is called the Prussian school system, is, you know, it wasn't the full story. It was not the full story. And again, I don't know if the Prussian school system is capable of telling full stories about all people. I guess they could if they wanted to. That's why we need to get control of these school boards around the country, at least where we can, right? So that was Professor Black Truth. And then another subscriber of Angry Man's, guy named calls himself Cerulean Gray, who is into the social sciences, and he's very, very well read. He actually turned me on to Herbert Marcuse, who was part of the Frankfurt School. You can look it up. And he turned me on to a book called The One-Dimensional Man. And I've started to read it, but it's really dense text, even for a voracious reader like myself. So I had to, kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? It's kind of where I had to take it in chunks at a time. So, and then I found out recently that Marcuse was a mentor to Angela Davis. Just like Howard Zinn, who wrote A People's History of the United States, was a mentor to Alice Walker, who wrote The Color Purple, which is not a favorite book of Black men. And it seems like these black females are getting, letting these white liberals play Rasputin on them. That's interesting. So then then another dude that Torian had talked about, because he talked about Angry Man, he talked about Cerulean Gray and Professor Black Truth, and then another one who, another guy that I want to talk about, of course, is BGS, or Black Gnostic Speaks. BGS Ibmore. That's IBMOR. Introspective Black Men of Reform is what that acronym stands for. And BGS is in Los Angeles area. He and I are about the same age. We're about both 58 years old. But he and I have had wildly differing backgrounds. He was from from the hood, from what is called the hood, if you will, in Los Angeles. And he talked about having to go through gang infested areas to get to a white school, for integration purposes. Now, that was Los Angeles. So for me, I'm growing up in southern New Jersey, where, yeah, we were bused, but the township I lived in of about 30,000 people was racially segregated, of course, in the 60s and 70s. And we had two black enclaves on opposite sides of town, and I lived in one. And I lived, my parents were able to inherit a home from my father's mother. And so my my growing up was totally skewed by growing up with both parents, growing up in a nuclear family. Father went to work, my mom stayed home, and of course I assumed that's how it was for everybody. Wrong. Wrong. Anyway, getting back to BGS, he's the dude who, again, this Taurean mentioned, does a weekly hangout on Saturday nights that lasts for 8 hours where they discuss all manner. Hey, Dollar Will, what's going on? Where they discuss all manner of topics, including finances, cryptocurrency, world events, you know, the relationship between black men and black women. AI Quizzle, what's going on? Hey, what's going on? Glad you can make it. Um, so they get into all kinds of different topics, and it starts usually bitter truth. What's going on, man? I actually watched one of your videos years ago. You were you were actually talking about Jason Black, I think, and you were standing in a field or near a junkyard or something. You were out and about. I remember you. But welcome, thank you, and thank you for coming, showing up here. Anyway, talking about BGS, he does a hangout that starts approximately 10 o'clock Eastern time or 11 o'clock Eastern. Albert Williams. Yeah. Oh, Bitter True said, I somewhat retract that video. Well, yeah, well, it's okay to change your mind. People grow and change and get their, have their views changed and whatnot. So, yeah, no biggie. So now BGS turned me on to a book called Tragedy and Hope by Carol Quigley. It was written in 1966. And I've started reading the book. I'm like maybe 15% of the way through it. It's kind of a thick tome, if you will, where he talks about how civilizations have life cycles, usually about 500 years. And Western civilization, which is undergirded by what we like to call white supremacy, is not an exception, according to Quigley. Quigley, he predicted that China would overtake the West in 2000. Well, he was off by maybe 10, 15 years because it looks like China's doing that right now. So I'm reading this book, and every few paragraphs, I have to stop and just look upwards, look skyward, and shake my head. I'm like, why the hell didn't I know this shit in high school or even in college? Well, and here I'm studying journalism for Christ's sake. I should know this shit. But, you know, it's hard to, I guess, I don't know. I can't say why. I can't say why. Guess you don't know. I found out something when in life you don't know what you don't know. So I'm reading Tragedy and Hope, and it I would highly recommend it. I would just based on what I've read thus far. So he says that Western civilization is going to peter out at some point. Now, of course, the key is, of course, you know, we've got China on the rise, and in the 22nd century, we're probably going to have Africa as you know, as a power. Hopefully, a new generation of Africans will take over and say, okay, world, you're not getting any more of our resources. We're going to dole this shit out. We'll see. We shall see. Because it was placed under cloud of conspiracy media. That's all you got to do to drive the masses away. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Dollar Will, I don't know. I don't know. All I know is I'm glad I know this today, and so that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. I didn't want to stay on here too long because I am technically on the clock, but I'm in an office and with the door closed, so I could be doing just about anything. Um, just so you know, too, I was away. Like I said, I was away for a little while because my wife and I were trying to prepare for my son to graduate high school, which he did on Monday. So he's Out of the Prussian school system. Yeah, Kai Quizzle said, "Tell me about it, Quabi." Since being in this sector of YouTube, I humbly come to the realization that I'm dumb as fuck and don't know it. Put your pants back on? What? What? Hmm. Okay. I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure what that means, sir. Although, you know what? Speaking of pants, um, there was a guy I follow on Twitter. Um, his name is Curtis Schoon. Check him out. Scoon. Why would our empire controls? Yeah, really. Oh, bitter. Oh, put my. Oh, no, bitter truth. No, I'm not. No, I'm not doing anything untowards here. I don't have anyone with me, and I'm not even with myself. Okay. No, 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 no. Yeah, yeah. He said, I'm messing with you. You being in the office with the door closed. Yeah. No, ain't nobody in here with me. But in any case, let me see what else. What was hey, you guys are making me I'm reading the chat and I'm losing my train of thought here. But I was saying that my son graduated high school and and he's been seeing some shit that my me and my wife have been going through, which I won't get into here. Uh, and he is really he's I think my children. I have a daughter and two sons. My daughter's 30. My older son is 29. My younger son is 18. I think they're going to be fine. And I feel like me and my wife did our part for the black community was spawning two millennials who know better and a Gen Z who knows better. So hopefully those guys will be productive members of black society going forward after me and Mrs. Bamboozle are gone. So anyhow, I wanted to, I know what I was talking about. Curtis Schoon, Scoon, putting pants back on. There was he has some, he's a guy who has some brother who has some experience with the entertainment industry. And he also has been very open about the fact that he was implicated in in the murder of Jam Master Jay of, Run DMC. That incident took place in '03 or '04. I can't remember when. And he talks about it on Twitter. He does talk about it. So I'm not telling you anything he wouldn't want known. So he also goes in. He'd be perfect for the Manosphere if he ever decide to start doing YouTube videos because he feels the same way as a lot of people in this sector. The media is out to demonize masculine male black males. And he went in on Issa Rae yesterday. He went in hard on Issa Rae because Issa Rae talked about doing a third season of that show Insecure on HBO, where they're going to focus on quote unquote toxic masculinity among black men. We're like, and everybody's like, what the fuck do they mean by that? You know? Man. So he was going in hard on Issa Rae, and guess who popped up to respond to him? None other than Jay Ellis, the actor who played Lawrence. And he said something to the effect of, hold on, let me see if I can find it real quick. Let me see if I can find it. See if I can share it with you guys. Because when I saw this, I thought, holy shit. Okay, here it is. Let me go into, let me do a quick, see if I can do a quick screen share. Here we go. All right, there it is. And it says here, as a black man who was part of the first two seasons of Issa Rae and the very diverse writing staff of Insecure's work, I'd have to say STFU. By the way, pick your pants up. Your toxicity is showing. Can you believe that? Can you believe this shit? By the way, pick your pants up. Your toxicity is showing. Okay. So of course, Mr. My man, Mr. Schoon, is not going to let that. He's not going to let that go. Where? Hold on. Where? Where? Okay. Where? Where is it? Oh shoot. I- Okay. I'm trying to call this. I'm trying to call this up. Okay. Okay. Here we go. And then Curtis comes back with Jay. Insecure was very unimpressive and relies on divisive gimmicks that appeal to intellectually challenged, emotionally volatile types suffering from low self esteem. People like you know what you have to do to stay working in that industry. Snowfall was so much better. Apparently, Snowfall is another show out there. And then Mr. Schoon goes on to tell Mr. Ellis, instead of going on the attack against the opinion of one person on social media, why not get involved in something that promotes positive images of Black people? You're a despicable bootlicker, among other things. Wipe your mouth and brush your teeth before you address me. Wow. I don't, and of course, Jay had nothing to say. Jay decided not to even, not to even go there. So that was that. Could you believe that shit, man? That shit was funny as hell. That was funny as hell. But man, oh man, that was funny. But yeah, when you said, yeah, bitter truth, when you talked about putting pants back on, that made me think of that tweet that JL has sent this dude. And I'm thinking to myself, your toxicity is showing? What kind of man says that to another man? The best thing you could do. I see things on social media all the time that get my blood boiling, but I don't feel the need to jump in. Yeah, you can jump in on Twitter. You can jump into a conversation, but just because you can doesn't mean you should. So anyway, but the so the gender war might be over on YouTube, but it's still raging out of control on Twitter. And you got all these young chicks like talking about Black men are trash and this and that. And I'm so tempted to ask, okay, I'll bite. Enumerate the reasons that Black men are trash. Nobody, I'm the type of person, I'm a journalist. I'll ask you, why do you feel that way? Why? I'm not going to say my opinion. I want to know. Inquiring minds want to know why you feel, why you, as a young millennial Black female, feel that Black men are trash because one did something to you that you don't like, and now 20 million of us are trash? Do you have a Black father? Do you have Black uncles? Do you have a Black grandfather? Do you have Black relatives elsewhere? Do you who are male? Because by your description, they're trash too. But they don't think. They just don't think. Yeah, Dollar. He said he's right. The actor should have kept quiet. He should have. Dollar Will said her mother told her to say Black men are trash. Okay, got it. Oh, and I Quizzle, thank you for the congratulations. You got your DED 3 years ago. Better late than never. You're right. You're right. But yeah. So in any case, I just wanted to come on here real quick and just talk about something I had wanted to talk about a long time ago, which is how I discovered the Black Manosphere. And it's been about a year. And just so you know, I've been I'm a patron of Angry Man. I'd love to be a patron of all you guys' channels, but I'd have to give you $1 a piece. I'm not quite there yet. I would love to support some Black media, some new Black media. Having worked in white media way back in the day, some of you know I've done that. Back when we delivered news on dead trees, i.e., newsprint. And of course, newspapers are dying. They're pretty much dying. No, and we tried. And you know what? One day, I want to say this: there were a lot of black men working in media back in the day. There were quite a few black men who were running newsrooms and whatnot. I'm going to get a listing of those guys and throw it up here. But it seems like today, we're under siege, and we were, yes, working within the constraints of, white run companies and whatnot, but we did the best we could. A lot of us, of course, are either older or retired now, but there were quite a few. And I named a few in a live stream I did before, so I won't do that again. I quizzle. Nope. They get into these devices, start ranting and raving things they don't hardly know anything about. Yeah, baked into American culture. Man, oh man. But in any case, it's nice that you guys showed up. Thank you. And again, white women, Hispanics, and Asian got our. Okay, I'm gonna show this one. Because no, I don't have any. I don't have any mod. Hey, Dollar Will, would you care to be a mod? As you know, I only have 200 subscribers, and I hope to get bigger in terms of subscriber count. But I only have two moderators thus far. Would you care to be a moderator for this channel? And you too, I L Quizzle. Matter of fact, I'm just gonna go ahead and give y'all wrenches. Okay. I'm just gonna I have that much faith in you guys because you're always here. You're always speaking to me, and that's great. Yep, you guys are now moderators. You're honored. Look, you guys have a hard job because you're welcome. Because I don't want to. I'd hate to have to moderate because folks piss you off. You're like, should I keep it? Should I keep this or should I get rid of it? This comment. But all right. But yeah, thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate that. So in any case, as I always say, um, if you like this live stream, please like and share it, and please subscribe to the Quad B channel. And for those of you who have subscribed within the last couple of weeks, thank you for subscribing. And as I always say, also, click on that bell so that when Quad B either goes live or uploads new content, you will be notified. And by the way, I will be trying to upload content that has to do with Black people on the local level, in terms of state and local government and politics, because a lot of the damage to us is being done also at the state level through groups like the American Legislative Exchange Council, they write up bills to benefit big business and just shove them in the front of lawmakers who rubber stamp them. And that's got to be counteracted somehow, but that's going to take time. Yeah, people can be clowns. Thank you for subbing, Mr. Williams. Appreciate it. Yeah, you tell me it's like you should see me on BGS's channel. It's like a madhouse. Man, BGS has been doing he's been doing quite a few hangouts of late. Oh my God. So anyhow, as I always say, and again, as I always say, beside what I always say, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Dollar Will and El Quizzle, thank you very much for agreeing to be moderators on my channel. You'll have joined the ranks of Char Willie and Cats 938, and Taurean Rain had mentioned those two ladies, by the way, who said if you want to get into the Angry Man Army, you got to go through those two. Oh, and Kendra, whew, DJ Fish Grease. Man, she's been going crazy on her channel, and it's growing like mad. But anyway, again, thank you very much. You all take care. And as I always say, peace, deuces, and God bless. And we will catch y'all later.